work together more so that we can get on with some bills that need to be passed. But I don't disagree. That's absolutely one way this would end. So could a decision between the official opposition, the government, other parties in this place to say, let's find a way to move forward. A case of privilege was made. We've had the debate. We need to continue to dig into this matter. For that, we need the documents.
Comments, questions et commentaires? Statements by members. Déclaration des députés. The honourable member for Nepean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to speak about a few points on the current status of our economy today. Number one, Canadian Consumer Index has fallen to is at 22 months high. In a study commissioned by Bloomberg and conducted by Nanos Research, the consumer confidence has been the best in the last about 2 years. Second, inflation has come down to 2%, and it has been there in the range what the Bank of Canada wants during the last 8 months. The third is that the interest rate, which is now 4.25%, I expect it to go down by further 50 basis points this month and come down to 3.75% this December and go further down to 3% by July next year. The other point I would like to make is the cost of living. This is still a matter of concern to most Canadians, but the point to note is that it has been falling in terms of percentage. It has already been down by 7%. Hopefully, with inflation falling, interest rates falling, and the consumer confidence increasing, we should see that it gets eliminated.
The honourable member for Meadows, Maple Ridge, yes.
Madam Speaker, I rise to pay tribute to an Ethiopian couple who tragically lost their lives in an arson attack at the House of Covenant International Church in Winnipeg last month. Geda and Zanuba recently came to Canada with hope, but instead were met with horror. They were living above their church, which provides affordable housing for newcomers. In the middle of the night, a heinous act of arson consumed the church, and the couple trapped above were killed. This is not an isolated incident. The government recently revealed that nearly 600 places of worship have been burned. Canada needs to protect places of worship from arson. I have introduced Bill C-411, the Anti-Arson Act, to address attacks against our churches, mosques, gurdwaras, synagogues, and mandirs. My sincerest condolences to the family of the victim and the Ethiopian Society of Winnipeg, who continue to grieve at this time.
L'honorable député d'Orléans.
Madam Speaker, on Saturday, I had the privilege of welcoming on Parliament Hill, alongside my colleague, the Minister of Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship, dozens of cyclists who participate in the Spinning Wheels Relay to End Parkinson's. 3 teams of cyclists completed a combined of 10,000 kilometers across Canada. They traveled through all 10 provinces, 2 territories, including remote northern region and Indigenous communities. Their mission is to raise awareness about Parkinson, show the benefits of exercise in alleviating the symptoms of the disease, connecting with others, and build a community. There was no easy journey, Madam Speaker. Over 2 months, these cyclists laughed, cried, became both physically and emotionally drained, dealt with emergencies, but ultimately rode in. They are an inspiration to us all, and I invite everyone in this House to join me in applauding their tremendous accomplishment. Merci.
Bravo. The honourable member for Windsor West.
Madam Speaker, recently Michigan approved an American billionaire's desire to ship hazardous material across the Ambassador Bridge to Canada. With this change taking effect in less than 2 weeks, the federal government, the province of Ontario, have been silent. It seems they simply don't care, even though the City of Windsor is opposed, as the Fire Department and Police Association and many others. Residents of Windsor are in a state of uncertainty and fear. We are allowing the profits of a U.S. billionaire to risk our water and our jobs. The lack of consultation consultation, background studies, and a clear safety plan is unacceptable. Our community deserves to know which neighborhoods will be affected and what protocols are in place should an accident occur. The Liberals are sacrificing our sovereignty and risking an environmental and economic disaster. The time for action is now. The Gordie Howe Bridge is opening up in months with the solution to this issue. Why the corrupt process right now?
The honourable member for Pierrefonds-Dollard.
Madame la Présidente, like so many Canadians from all walks of life, I'm deeply distressed and saddened by the situation in Lebanon. Within just 2 weeks, 1,000 civilians and 6,000 others have been injured because of airstrikes by the government of Israel. This includes 2 Canadians who have lost their lives. My thoughts are with everyone impacted in the region, regardless of which border one is living within, regardless of one's ethnicity. Yesterday, I met with a young physician in my office. She told me about a tragic story of 2 of her family members who were killed within the last days this weekend. She also talked about how a member of her family needs urgent medical care and cannot access that care because of civilian pathways, road work, and infrastructures being reduced and bombarded. We need to see a ceasefire. We need all parties to stop the violence. We need peace in the Middle East. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member for Brantford-Brant.
Madam Speaker, this past Sunday, September the 27th, I had the privilege of attending a momentous and historic event at His Majesty's Royal Chapel of the Mohawks, the only First Nations chapel in Canada to have royal arms granted by the Crown, situated in my riding of Brantford-Brant. The event was a celebration to commemorate the granting of the royal arms to the chapel by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, signifying the deep-rooted bond between the Crown and the Haudenosaunee. The coat of arms embodies the words faith, hope, and charity, and encompasses a tree of peace, building on the foundation, the partnership, and the traditions which extend back to the 1600s. Congratulations to His Majesty's Royal Chapel of the Mohawks on the unveiling of this new emblem, serving as a tangible piece of our rich history.
The honourable member for Mississauga Erin Mills.
Madam Speaker, today I recognize that my beloved hometown, the city of Mississauga, turns 50 this year. From humble beginnings, Mississauga has grown into one of the largest cities in Canada. It's known as one of the most diverse cities with over 60% of the population a visible minority. At the heart of Mississauga's success are hardworking people dedicated to ensuring that our community is vibrant and welcoming to people from all walks of life. And it is an honor and a privilege to represent the residents of Mississauga in this House. And here's one more thing that we're especially proud of, Madam Speaker. Since Hurricane Hazel herself was elected in 1978, our city has been proudly led by women, Mayor Bonnie Crombie and now Mayor Carolyn Parrish, and we love it that way. So here's to another 50 years for the city of Mississauga. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member for Sydney Victoria.
Madam Speaker, I rise today in proud recognition of the funding of the Bernie McNeil Field in Sydney, Nova Scotia, a project that was tirelessly advocated for by the Sydney Baseball Park Association and the hundreds of parents that voiced their support and helped fundraise for the field. I'd like to thank the Jays Care Foundation for their contribution and all levels of government for making this dream of a world-class Little League ball field a reality. As someone who participated in sports as a youth, I know that sports is a core part of childhood development, and together with a multi-sport facility next door at the former Centennial Arena, kids across Cape Breton will have groundbreaking opportunities to participate in athletics moving forward. Investment like these allow our youth to thrive, teaching them values and lessons that will sustain them throughout their lives. I'm proud to be part of a government that has continued to deliver on the funding for sports infrastructure in Cape Breton, and look forward to next summer saying, play ball at the new Little League ball field.
Hear, hear.
Honorable député de Montmagny, l'île Kamouraska.
The honourable member from Montmagny, l'île Kamouraska, Rivière-du-Loup. Madam Speaker, 9 years of this Liberal government is 9 years too many. We know that the cost of living is going up sharply.
Housing is out of reach. Many people are having to go to food banks. And because of these lax liberal policies, the only thing that's doing well today in Canada is crime. It's horrifying. It's high time that this liberal prime minister do the one thing that he can still do for Canadians. Trigger an election. Quebecers have been clear. This centralizing, inflationary liberal government needs to be out. The Bloc Québécois has also been very clear. It's not there to help Quebecers. Instead, it's here to prop up this liberal prime minister. The Bloc Québécois is constantly supporting liberal whims which are causing Quebecers to live in poverty. They haven't even asked the government to cancel a policy that might kill the forestry industry in Quebec. What we actually have here in the House is a liberal bloc.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This week we celebrated National Seniors Day, and last weekend I met with a wonderful group of seniors from my riding at Woodruff United Church, organized by the Old Forge Community Resource Centre Oasis program. My riding has many buildings that are primarily older adults. They call these NORCs, Naturally Occurring Retirement Communities. The Old Forge, with partial funding through the federal government's New Horizons for Seniors program, provides coordinators in these seniors buildings that facilitate social gatherings, food and nutrition events, wellness and physical activities, and anything else that the seniors want. These seniors told me that this program, because of it, they feel less lonely, more healthy, and they can stay in their homes longer. This pilot project is now in 4 buildings in my riding, the 3 Ambleside buildings and the Rosewood. I want to thank all the staff, the volunteers, and the participants for contributing to a better community. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Portage Lisgar.
After 9 years of the NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. The carbon tax is jacking up the cost of everything, and what do the Liberals do? They appoint carbon tax cheerleader Mark Carney as their phantom finance minister to advise on economic policy. At the same time, he presides over a massive corporation that sought $10 billion to take over our pension system. Can the Liberals get by just 1 week without helping their billionaire buddies at the expense of Canadians? Apparently not, and Canadians are sick and tired of it. Life for working Canadians has never been so hard. Food costs $700 more than it did last year, forcing millions of Canadians to line up outside of food banks. But for well-connected Liberals like Carbon Tax Carney, life has never been so good. Only common-sense Conservatives will end the conflict of interest and bring home lower prices for Canadians. So let's have that carbon tax election so we can bring home powerful paychecks for all Canadians.
Honourable Member for Cypress Hills Grasslands.
Madam Speaker, after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. With the House of Commons ground to a halt because of the Liberal government's refusal to turn over documents, I would like to take some time to remind the House of another Liberal scandal that won't be going away anytime soon. The Labour Minister from Edmonton is still under a cloud of guilt for his shady business dealings with Stephen Anderson and their company, Global Health Imports. We've all heard about the excuse of the other Randy, but when this minister admitted recently that he had in fact been in contact with his former business partner, despite previously saying otherwise, the suspicion of Canadians only grows. My advice to him? Just tell the truth. It'll make you feel better. And you also don't have to worry about trying to keep your story straight because there would only be one version of the story. After 9 years of this corrupt government, corruption is one of the many crimes that Canadians want to see a Conservative government put a stop to. Let's bring it home.
Bravo. The Honourable Member for Ottawa Centre.
Mr. Speaker, it's my great honor to rise today to celebrate community newspapers in all our ridings. This past week, I had the great honor of attending the 50th anniversary of the Ottawa South Community Association Review, also known as Oscar. And it got me thinking about how in this era of declining traditional media and the rise of social media, the important role community newspapers play. They're run by volunteers. They tell our local stories. In my community of Ottawa Centre, I am so grateful to have the Glee Report, which also celebrated their 50 years last year, the Main Streeter, Centertown Buzz, and the Kitchissippi Times. They are incredible papers who are telling stories every week about our community, and there's incredible, important source of information. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all the volunteers at all these community newspapers for the incredible job they do week after week, month after month. Thank you.
The honourable member for Vancouver East.
It's been months since the UN Secretary General first referred to Gaza as a graveyard for children. Civilians continue to face indiscriminate bombing and starvation. Now the people of Lebanon too face unimaginable danger in the deadliest escalation of violence between Israel and Hezbollah since 2006. And the threat of war between Israel and Iran looms over all in the region. The starvation and perpetual bombing of a displaced population in Gaza, including 1 million children, is intolerable. Attacks on civilians in Palestine, Lebanon, and Israel must stop. Nobody in the region is safer today than they were 12 months ago. There can be no military solution to their suffering. There should be no support from Canada for warmongers anywhere. The NDP is renewing our call for a full two-way arms embargo, recognition of the state of Palestine, sanctions on the extremist Israel leader, a permanent ceasefire, and release of all hostages.
The honourable member for Manicouagan. I am very pleased to rise today to celebrate the 70th anniversary of a pioneer among chambers of commerce in the Côte-Nord region, the Manicouagan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It has brought together businesses from Pessamit to Godbout, Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities, and industry. It is a pillar of Manicouagan's socio-economic tissue. It has built the Côte-Nord that we know and love, full of innovation, courage, and ambition. With a passionate board of directors and a dynamic support team along with visionary entrepreneurs, I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for helping us work together towards a common goal, helping the Côte-Nord region thrive with its remarkable economic opportunities, our resources, our prosperity, and hearts turned towards sustainable development. Thank you for helping us shine. I'm greatly looking forward to celebrating all of those who have made history with the Chamber of Commerce, as well as those who will help it continue to succeed in the future.
The honourable member for Northumberland, Peterborough South.
Sustainable Development Technology Canada was a federal foundation funded by over $1 billion of taxpayers' money. They violated their own conflict of interest policies 186 times, awarded $76 million of contracts inappropriately, awarded $59 million that went to 10 separate projects that were clearly ineligible. And in 63 separate instances, directors of the program voted in favor of payments to companies of which they had an interest. Parliament has made a reasonable request for the government to help the ongoing RCMP investigation by handing over documents to Parliament. However, this government has refused. The obstruction has grinded Parliament to a halt. Madam Speaker, it's time to axe the tax, cut the corruption, and call an election.
Yes. The honourable member for Winnipeg North.
Madam Speaker, have you heard the phrase, the conservative hidden agenda? That is something in which Canadians really do need to be aware of. Nothing could be further from the truth when it comes to this leader of the Conservative Party, Madam Speaker. He's good at slogans, he's great at bumper stickers, but I'll tell you, let me give you a tangible example of a hidden conservative agenda. Think in terms of yesterday, the debate on the National Disability Program. I asked on 3 separate occasions, would the Conservatives commit to no cuts on that particular program? Even the critic, Madam Speaker, not one of them would commit to saying that they would not cut the National Disability Program. These are the types of things in which the Conservative Party is hiding from Canadians, Madam Speaker, because they know that the Conservative hidden agenda is something that the Canadians will not support.
Questions orales. Oral questions. The honourable member for Leeds Granville,
This NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime's up, and time's up for this Prime Minister and his de facto Finance Minister, Carbon Tax Kearney. Since taking on the role, the friends and business interests of Carbon Tax Kearney have benefited with billions of tax dollars, $2 billion for his buddy at Telesat, and Brookfield getting a seat at the table to get their hands on $10 billion Canadian tax dollars. Suddenly, Carbon Tax Kearney is raising funds for these Liberals in exchange for all of those billions. So will they cooperate with an investigation from Canada's lobbying commissioner?
The Honourable Minister of flavor.
Well, Madam Speaker, the Death Valley well driller is poking more dry holes. Outstanding Canadians stepping up to advise the Liberal Party or any party is a very good thing. But what this member wants to cloud is the fact that, Madam Speaker, inflation's down, interest rates are down, wage settlements are up, the economy is up. We've reached a soft landing in this country. They should stop talking the country down. We're going to continue lifting the country up, Madam Speaker.
For Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Like all Canadians, I wish that every time we looked for a scandal, it wasn't just surface deep, like the public safety minister found guilty of breaking the law, the prime minister broke the law, the trade minister broke the law. These guys can't help themselves. And now he wants to tell us that Canadians have never had it so good, and that's why they have Carbon Tax Carney, who's lining the pockets of his friends and himself, all so that he'll raise a little cash for a dying Liberal Party. Canadians have had absolutely enough after 9 years of their corruption and grift. So why won't the Prime Minister subject his new de facto finance minister to the conflict of interest regime? Is he worried that he's going to be found guilty of breaking the law too?
Honourable Minister of Labour.
Madam Speaker, the predictions of impending doom coming from that member in particular and his political party really sound discordant to Canadians. What is happening across this country, Madam Speaker, is that after the pandemic, we've achieved that rare feat, a soft landing, no recession, wage gains, inflation coming down, interest rates coming down in this country. The finance minister this very week putting in place measures that will make young people more able to purchase a home. Madam Speaker, these are things that you do when you...
Honourable Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Let's talk about what they've achieved. Record lineups at food banks with 25% of Canadians not knowing where their next meal is coming from, not able to heat their homes, a third of food bank users being children. They are starving and freezing in the dark after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government and their carbon tax on everything that's being boosted by Carbon Tax Carney, who's only doing it, of course, to raise his stock portfolio, which we saw with Brookfield stocks hitting 6 months high in exchange for policies from this government and for him fundraising for them. Canadians are broke. These Liberals broke them. Let's have a carbon tax election.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Finance.
Well, Madam Speaker, Canadians know where this government stands. We've offered immediate and direct support to families, especially when they needed it most. We've delivered household savings and significantly strengthened our social safety net. And we've promoted fairer practices, greater competition across our industries. Notice, Madam Speaker, real solutions and zero slogans from this side. Well, I guess that's just the Liberal government for you.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins, Lévis. 9 years ago, this government promised us the world. Instead, we inherited a Canada that is failing seniors, families, and young people. This government has squandered the money Canadians entrusted to it. This government has created massive inflation. Rent has doubled, and homelessness now affects everyone, including young students and grandmas who can no longer make ends meet. Can this Prime Minister, the government, do the only honourable thing left and call an election? Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, what Canadians truly fear is the hidden agenda of the Conservative Party. What would that member cut? She would cut food banks. She would cut support for housing. And we know full well that that party would cut tens of thousands of public service positions in Canada. I think it's time for this member and this party to make public their secret hidden plan, which would be bad for Canada. The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins, Lévis. Well, the fact is that Canada has fallen behind our trade partner and neighbour, the United States, in terms of economic growth and productivity, Madam Speaker. But that's not all. The OECD predicts that Canada's economic growth will be the worst of all OECD member countries over the next 3 decades. Canadians want to get control back over their own lives. The only way to do that is for an election to be called to get a Conservative government. Does the Prime Minister have the courage to dissolve the House? The Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, when there is an election, that member will have to stop making false claims. She will have to publish the Conservative Party's secret hidden plan for cuts for austerity, for removing support for our seniors, for housing, for municipalities, for infrastructure, and I could go on and on about what they would cut. Madam Speaker, our economy is strong, interest rates are down, the inflation is down, and Madam Speaker, we avoided a recession. We have a lot to accomplish, but we're working on it. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. The House is calling for a 10% increase in old age security for all seniors aged 65 to 74. But this is not just the will of the House of Commons. In fact, yesterday, CTV published a poll. Madam Speaker, do you know what percentage of Canadians agree with us? No fewer than 79%. 79% of those polls understand that depriving 65 to 74-year-olds of a pension increase to which older seniors are entitled means creating two classes of seniors. Will the Liberals finally say yes to the request not only of the House of Commons, but also of 79% of Canadians? The Honourable Minister for Seniors. Madam Speaker, I recently visited my colleague's beautiful riding. When I was there, I checked. There are 8,700 constituents in the members' riding who are eligible for the Canadian Dental Care Program now, and that is thanks to the federal Canadian Dental Care Program that she voted against, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. 79% of Canadians agree with the Bloc Québécois that old age security should be improved for seniors aged 65 to 74. Everyone understands that it is unfair to create two classes of seniors. So the Liberals will also have to face up to this obvious fact. Otherwise, they will have to pay the political price. Do the Liberals understand that if they say no to 79% of Canadians, 79% of Canadians might want to say no to them?
Secrétaire parlementaire.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is also important to inform that 79% of Canadians that our government, since 2015, has implemented a host of good programs and measures for seniors. We brought the retirement age down from 67 to 65. We increased supports for most vulnerable seniors, including women, persons with disabilities, those with needs. We also enhanced the guaranteed income supplement. And you know who voted against all of that, Madam Speaker? The Bloc Québécois.
Lebanese Canadians have told me they're terrified for their loved ones. They are horrified by the Israeli bombs destroying their family homes. Canadian citizens are trapped. Leaving Lebanon is getting harder. Nowhere is safe. We have been demanding sanctions on Netanyahu, an arms embargo, safe evacuation routes, and for this government to step up and push for a ceasefire. People in the region want peace and security. Why isn't this government doing everything in its power to end the war?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I think everybody in this House has raised concerns about civilians and people in Lebanon, as we have about civilians in Israel, in Gaza, and the West Bank. We will continue to advocate for peace. The violence, the destruction in Lebanon has to end. Canada has joined with its allies and has called for an immediate 21-day ceasefire. That is the only way that we can get diplomacy to work. Wars kill people. Diplomacy will work. We have to give it a chance. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
For Windsor West.
Madam Speaker, rents are skyrocketing and families can't find an affordable place to live. Liberals and Conservatives have stood by and done nothing while corporate landlords buy up previously affordable apartments to jack up rent and increase profits for their shareholders. Now we find out that these landlords may be using AI software to coordinate rent increases and price people out of their own homes. The same software under investigation for illegal price fixing in the United States. Why won't the Liberals act to stop greedy corporate landlords from ripping off Canadians and using AI as a strategy to evict people from their homes?
That's right. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
The member is an experienced member of this House, Madam Speaker. Surely he knows that rent is a provincial area of jurisdiction, but we have not turned our way from our responsibility to help renters at this time. We've added to supply. We've waived GST on the construction costs of apartments for middle and low-income Canadians. The Conservatives would reimpose that, Madam Speaker. We need to add supply in the context of high interest rates. That measure is doing that. We've put forward a Renters' Bill of Rights as well. That is the first time a federal government has acted in that direction. We're going to continue to support renters, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for South Shore St. Margaret's.
Breaking news.
The RCMP commissioner confirmed that the Prime Minister's hand-picked directors to the Green Slush Fund are under criminal investigation. So what we have now is the Liberals not only defying an order of this House to produce the documents and turn them over to the RCMP, Liberals are now obstructing justice by refusing to cooperate with the RCMP investigation. 9 Green Slush Fund appointees have been implicated in funneling $400 million to their own companies. Are Liberals obstructing justice so their cronies can avoid jail?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. And I am disappointed in the Conservative Party's approach, and I'm not alone. If you take a look in terms of what it is that the Auditor General of Canada is saying and the RCMP is saying in regards to the Conservative tactic, and people should really note this, they are extremely uncomfortable. You have caused a great deal of discomfort to those independent offices because of your behavior here on the floor of the House of Commons.
The Honourable Member to speak through the chair. I hope I haven't caused anything to anyone. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would suggest to you that the Conservative Party needs to be more sensitive and listen to what the RCMP...
The Honourable Member for South Shore St. Margaret's.
This House is listening to the RCMP when the RCMP commissioner said yesterday that he's investigating the corruption at the Green Slush Fund. You know, they use as an excuse the Charter. The Charter does not exist to protect Liberals and prevent and create obstruction of justice opportunities. As Liberals cling to dear life to the secret documents, they obstruct justice. Hundreds of millions of dollars have already been funneled to Liberal cronies. What's the true number? Is it billions? Is it 2 billion? Will the Liberal who is obstructing justice and knows the true amount of the
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Speaker, instead of the Conservative Party playing games at a great expense to Canadians, solely focused on their party fortunes and anything else, as opposed to trying to do filibusters on the floor of the House of Commons, why don't they listen? Listen to what the RCMP, listen to what the Auditor General is saying, Madam Speaker. And what they are saying is this Conservative tactic causes great concern, and it's justified as the Conservatives are trying to blur the whole issue of judicial independence. Shame on them.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Heritage.
Of rights and freedoms, not the Charter of crime and corruption, as the Deputy House Leader seems to contend. 9 years of NDP Liberals. Taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. Guess what? Conflict of interest is up too. At the Liberal Green Slush Fund, the Auditor General reported 82% of transactions, nearly $400 million poured into the pockets of Liberal insiders. The House demanded the government hand these documents to the RCMP. The Prime Minister refuses. How many more millions of dollars, taxpayer dollars?
Well, Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, I would note that the member made reference to the Charter of Rights. You know, yesterday I heard Conservative member say that parliamentarians should have the right to put people in jail, Madam Speaker. They have no credibility when it comes to the issue of the Charter of Rights and protecting judicial independence. They are literally laughable yesterday in terms of their performance on this issue. They should be ashamed of the way in which they throw to the side the independent offices of our RCMP and they walk on the...
Honourable Member for Calgary Heritage.
Madam Speaker, the Charter protects people from government, not politicians from prison. I think that the Deputy House Leader would be well advised to think about how every parliamentarian is not above the law. While Canadians struggle with higher taxes, grocery prices and housing costs, Parliament halts. Yet Liberals still hide the truth, refusing to release documents. 2 million people turn to food banks. Liberal insiders get rich. The RCMP investigates. When will Liberals comply with the RCMP, stop obstructing justice, and give Canadians their money back?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Speaker, I realize the member across the way is relatively new. Let me give him a bit of a refresher. Let me talk about conservative corruption, the anti-terrorism scandal, the Phoenix scandal, the G8 spending scandal. Remember the gazebo? The ETS scandal, $400 million. The F-35 scandal. What about the Senate scandal? Not to mention the election scandals. Madam Speaker, there's a plural on that one because one of their members actually went to jail. Madam Speaker, we don't need to be taking lessons from the Conservative Party of Canada on scandals. They led the way.
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable. After 9 years of this bloc-backed Liberal government, they're just not worth the cost of corruption. The Liberals have lost control, Madam Speaker. Corruption reigns free in that party. The RCMP is doing another investigation into the Green Slush Fund. $400 million from the Green Slush Fund went to Liberals. The Auditor General alone found 186 conflicts of interest. Why does the Prime Minister refuse to tell the full truth? Why is he hiding documents from the RCMP investigation? Who's he trying to protect?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Well, Madam Speaker, I'm not too sure if the member across the way heard what it is that I said in terms of the conservative corruption that is out there. This is serious stuff. Where were they when we had this type of corruption taking place? I talked about the anti-terrorism scandal, and the list goes on. I want to focus on the election scandals because the only parliamentarian that I'm aware of that was literally taken away in leg irons was the parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, Dean Del Mastro, Madam Speaker. Where was the Conservative Party when the Conservative Party demonstrated so much corruption?
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable. You see, Madam Speaker, after 9 years, this government has a culture of secrecy and corruption, all created in the party by the Prime Minister. And it's so deeply rooted, this culture of secrecy, that the House can no longer do its job. This government is hiding documents from Canadians. This government, once again, is flouting a House of Commons order. This government is disrespecting the will of a majority of parliamentarians who want to get to the bottom of the Green Slush Fund. 2 million Canadians are going to food banks. When will Canadians be reimbursed for this government's corruption and incompetence?
Pick up on the word when the member makes reference to disrespect. When I see disrespect is when the official opposition and the leader of the far-right Conservative Party completely ignores the advice that's being provided by the independence of our RCMP as an institution and the Auditor General. Madam Speaker, I think it's irresponsible. It's ridiculous that the leader of the Conservative Party ignores that information. At the same time, you know, when we talk about corruption, talk to me about the individual that walked away in leg irons because of conservative.
The honourable member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes Verchères. The House voted to put an end to having 2 classes of seniors by increasing by 10% OAS payments for those aged 65 to 74. 79% of Canadians who were polled support this. The Minister for Seniors will have to explain this. He is penalizing 12,000 seniors in his riding of Gatineau, 30,000 in the greater Gatineau area. Can he explain why his government would prefer to call an election rather than give these seniors a single penny more? The Honourable Minister for Seniors. I thank the member for correcting the math brought up yesterday about the number of 65 to 74-year-olds in the riding of Gatineau. He didn't apologize, but thank you for correcting it. Now, there is some more math for this House. 10,000, Madam Speaker. 10,000 constituents in his very riding who today are eligible for the federal Canadian Dental Care Plan that we implemented despite his vote against this plan, which helps so many people. The honourable member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes Verchères. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Soon, they will have an opportunity to apologize to many seniors. What do the Liberals do for seniors? The Minister for Seniors is depriving 12,000 people of 10% increase in their OAS, and the Quebec Lieutenant is depriving 15,000 people, and the Prime Minister who represents Papineau is depriving 8,000 seniors of an increase. We, the Bloc Québécois, will do everything for those seniors. with Liberal MPs and ministers like that, wouldn't we'd be better off with an election? The Honourable Minister for Seniors. Madam Speaker, not only have we supported seniors by targeting supports to the most vulnerable seniors, we've also invested in housing. We're also very proud to have increased OAS. We also increased the exemption for taxable income so that we could help seniors who wanted to remain in the labour market. Do you know who voted against all of that, all of those measures, Madam Speaker? The member across the way and his whole party, the Bloc Québécois.
After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, corruption is up, and time is up. Now it's confirmed that the RCMP is doing an investigation into this Liberal Green slush fund. $330 million of taxpayer funds was paid out in 186 cases of conflicts of interest. It is despicable that Liberal insiders lined their own pockets. Those who broke the law must be brought to justice. So when will this scandal-ridden government hand over all the documents to the RCMP and recover every last dollar of embezzled funds?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, I would pose the question, when will the Conservative Party actually start respecting the independence of the RCMP? When will they take and start respecting the independence of the Auditor General? When will they actually start to work for Canadians inside the House of Commons by stop talking so that we could actually get on to government legislation and do what the resolution or the motion that they brought forward, and that was to see the bill or the motion actually go to the Standing Committee, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member from Montmagny, Lille, Kamouraska, Rivière-du-Loup. Madam Speaker, 9 years of this Liberal government means 9 years of scandals. The RCMP has opened another investigation. Corruption has become synonymous with this Liberal government. Canadians are still waiting for answers about the Liberal Green Slush Fund, which paid $390 million in 180 cases of conflict of interest. This is Canadians' money, Madam Speaker. Canadians can't afford to house themselves or eat if all of their money ends up in the hands of Liberal insiders. Madam Speaker, when will this corrupt Liberal government allow Canadians to keep their money? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
I have had the opportunity to answer this question, and I think in fairness, what I would like to suggest to the members opposite, that they really do listen to what the RCMP and the Auditor General have to say on the issue. If they want to do a comparison, as I've tried to highlight, the many different scandals of the Stephen Harper era in which the leader of the Conservative Party today was a part of that cabinet, Madam Speaker, I think that they need to start reflecting internally on their behavior, because not once did they ever make the type of inquiry or demand, rather than...
The Honourable Member for Red Deer Lacombe.
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, time is up, and incompetence is up. The Minister of the Environment ignored the science, and as a result, Jasper burned. The proof? His own executives were caught discussing cancelling prescribed burns for political optic reasons. Yet prescribed burns are an essential tool for preventing wildfires. Will this minister accept responsibility for his failure and apologize to the 2,000 residents of Jasper who have lost their homes and their businesses?
Minister of Environment.
What the member opposite just said is simply not true. And if I wasn't in this House, I would probably be using another word. There's been 15 prescribed burns in the last 10 years, Madam Speaker, and the email he's referring to are Parks Canada employee discussing whether or not to use mechanical removals or prescribed burns. What he's saying is absolutely false, and he should be ashamed, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, the Minister of Environment claims to be proud of his preparations for the catastrophic Jasper wildfire, yet 1/3 of Jasper was destroyed. $1 billion in damages. 2,000 people homeless. It can hardly be described as a success. Everyone knew Jasper was a tinderbox. My former colleague Jim McGlinskey even tried to warn the government in this House as far back as 2016, yet not enough was done to protect the town of Jasper. How many more parks need to burn down before this minister is replaced by somebody who knows how fire works?
The Honourable Minister Minister for the Environment and Climate Change.
Talk about what we're doing on this side and what they did when they were in power. The last year that this party was in power, $2 million to fight forest fires with Parks Canada. What we've done in the last few years, $85 million to help fight forest fires, to give means to our forest firing force at Parks Canada to work with the Alberta government, to work with the City of Jasper. $2 million on their side, $85 million on our side, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Nunavut.
Okaktitiyi, Indigenous elders endured genocidal policies resulting in Indigenous women and girls being missing and murdered. Thanks to the Liberals, Wik-Wemkong First Nations elders are on the verge of exile. Long-term care facilities are important for passing on intergenerational love and knowledge to keep Indigenous peoples alive. Liberals are refusing an act of reconciliation. When will this government deliver the funding needed for the Wik-Wemkong Elders' Home?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'd like to thank the member opposite for her question. And it's true that elders are an important part of Indigenous communities. We know that it's important to continue to support Indigenous women, especially on Sisters in Spirit Day. And I'd also like to just, while I have the ability, to congratulate the Nova Scotia Native Women's Association on their brand new Indigenous Women's Resilience Centre. They opened last month. It's the first ever in provinces across Canada. So congratulations to Nova Scotia Native Women's Association on an amazing achievement.
The Honourable Member for Port Moody Coquitlam.
The minister said they would hold back the Canada Disability Benefit until July 2025. What a disgrace. Over 1 million people with disabilities live in poverty today. They need support to pay for rent, groceries, and medication. And the Conservatives are no better. They'll cut dental care, health care, essential services persons with disabilities are entitled to. This government needs to act now, not next year. Will they stop the delay and deliver the Canada Disability Benefit immediately?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, this opposition party, the Conservative Party, will do nothing at all for persons with disabilities. We are the party that has stood by persons with disabilities, $6.1 billion to help people with disabilities be lifted, and this was in our budget, the biggest line item. We are proud of this, the Canada Disability Benefit. We are standing with the disability community, working together to uplift people. We are the government that is doing this. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Member for Markham Stouffville.
Madam Speaker, Canadians deserve reliable and safe travel options. That means efficient airports that can adapt to high demand. It also includes targeted investments in regional airports, such as at the Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport, located on the beautiful Toronto Islands. Could the Minister of Transport update this House about a recent announcement that will benefit Canadian travellers and improve connectivity?
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board and Minister of Transport.
Madam Speaker, Canadians are asking for better service at airports. Last week, I was pleased to make an announcement at Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport with having pre-clearance at that airport. Canadians can expect smoother travel between Canada and the United States. More travel options, more economic growth, more tourism, more trade, more security. Madam Speaker, that's what it's all about. Unlike the opposition, we are here for Canadians. We're here for productivity.
The Honourable Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Madam Speaker, the minister from Edmonton misled committee when he testified that he had no communications with his shady business partner at or around the time of an alleged $500,000 fraud implicating a Randy. But when phone records demonstrated that that wasn't true, he changed his story and admitted to phoning and texting the shady business partner at that very time. If the minister isn't for Randy implicated in the alleged fraud, why did he mislead committee? Hear, hear.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Madam Speaker, it's all about character assassination from the Conservatives. Not once but twice the minister in question has actually been cleared by the Ethics Commissioner. Having said that, Madam Speaker, instead of attacking personalities day in and day out, maybe the Conservative Party should start listening to what Canadians are wanting to deal with. Why isn't the Conservative Party being a little bit more forthright on what their hidden agenda is really about? Canadians want to see a dental program, a pharmacare program, a school food program, a child care program, and a healthy health program.
Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Madam Speaker, let's get this straight. Text messages implicating Randy. The minister's shady business partner can't identify another Randy. We know that the minister contacted his shady business partner at the time of the alleged fraud, and text messages place the Randy in Vancouver at the same time as the minister. How much evidence is it going to take for the Prime Minister to fire this corrupt minister?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I've already answered that question. And at the end of the day, Madam Speaker, what is it going to take for the Conservative Party and the leader of that far-right Conservative Party to understand that there is an obligation to be responsible here in Ottawa on the floor of the House of Commons, Madam Speaker? That means allowing debates to occur on the important issues that Canadians are facing today. Instead of focusing their attention on the Conservative Party, Madam Speaker, they should be focusing their attention on Canadians.
The member for Sturgeon River Parkland.
Well, Madam Speaker, the member dodged the question the first two times, so let's give him a third time. The Minister of Employment and his business partner, Stephen Anderson, have refused to cooperate with an investigation into their fraud-ridden company. For months, this minister claimed that he had no communication, that he wasn't the one referenced in the text, and that he had nothing to do with his former business partner. Finally, after relentless pressure, the minister admitted he did text his business partner, and he even called him to discuss their business, something he's prohibited from doing by law. Why did the minister, who claimed he had nothing to hide for months, hide this damning evidence?
The Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, I've indicated very clearly the Ethics Commissioner, which is an independent office of the House of Commons, has not once but twice cleared the minister. Having said that, Madam Speaker, my challenge to the Conservative Party across the way is to understand that they actually have a responsibility to Canadians that goes beyond serving the Conservative Party of Canada. Madam Speaker, I would suggest that they are doing a great disservice to Canadians in every region of the country by the behavior that they take day in and day out on the floor of the House of Commons.
Member for Sturgeon River Parkland.
Well, Madam Speaker, I would say that this Liberal government has a responsibility to tell Canadians the truth. This minister, only after turning over his phone to the Ethics Commissioner, only after months of relentless pressure, finally admitted that he did indeed talk to his business partner, something he's not allowed to do under law. He admits that they discussed business, and this was after his business partner lied to a parliamentary committee by ridiculously claiming that the 9 references to the minister was just an autocorrect. If the minister can't be trusted to disclose what he called just an innocent conversation, how can he be trusted to be truthful?
The Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Madam Speaker, not once, but twice the Ethics Commissioner has cleared the minister. That is the truth. The member makes reference to the truth. Seriously, Madam Speaker, this comes from a Conservative, that ultimately a Conservative Party that spreads so much misinformation and false facts, fake news, you name it, through social media, Madam Speaker. When are they going to start to be honest with Canadians and tell them what their hidden agenda is all about? I'll tell you why, because they know that...
The Honourable Member for Joliette. The Senate is thumbing its nose at farmers. This is the proof. In 82, a bill with one article supported by all the members of this House was stuck in the Senate for more than a year. More than a year to study more than one article on supply management. How come the Senate is taking so much time to study C-76 yesterday? 3 days, not one, but 3. 2 Liberal-appointed senators are blocking this bill. They are mocking farmers. Can we ask them to stop this? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Of course, we're a party that has always supported supply management. We also support this bill in question, and we expect the other place to pass this legislation. But we haven't talked about to the other party across the aisle, the official opposition. They've been rather quiet on this issue, and I hope they will also make calls to their Conservative colleagues there. The Honourable Member for Joliette. What we're asking is to speak to the senators, because their role should be to approve bills that are voted on by elected officials. This is our democracy that needs to be put first. There are 2 unknown senators that no one voted for that are blocking all of this legislation. And I would like to remind you that if this bill is not adopted by October 29th, we'll be not supporting the Liberals. And we have to protect our farmers, or are we just protecting our own behinds here? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. As I said already, we're a part of it's always supported supply management. We're going to continue to do so, and we're expecting the other place to pass this bill. And I know that my Bloc colleagues are doing their house at the Senate, their work at the Senate, as are we. We're making calls, but once again, I haven't heard the official opposition make any calls on their side of the House on this bill.
After 9 years, this Prime Minister is not worth the cost or the corruption. We now know the Prime Minister's friend and media buddy, Tom Clark, was instrumental when it came to purchasing his new $9 million luxury condo on Billionaires Row in New York, a condo which includes Italian marble, a $5,000 coffee machine, and a golf simulator. This as Canadians continue to struggle with an unprecedented cost of living crisis. Will the Liberal government admit there is no justification for Canadian taxpayers having to foot the bill for this lavish condo?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
The truth is, and the fact is simple, that the new residence that has been purchased will cut costs, will save money. On this side of the House, we'll always stand up for Canada and the best interests of Canadians. We'll engage with international leaders. We will continue to do the work that we need to do internationally, diplomatically, while saving taxpayers' money. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Yorkton Melville.
After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. The Liberals' $60 million Arrive scam exposed contracting fraud on taxpayers, called bait and switch. High-priced consultants overbill, underdeliver, and sometimes don't even do the work. High-priced consultants line their pockets while taxpayers are paying the bills. Canada's contracting watchdog is launching a review. How much contracting fraud will taxpayers be on the hook for, and will the Liberals get Canadians their money back?
Great question.
Here. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, we have said time and time again that we expect our procurement process to follow all of the rules and regulations. Any misconduct will come with severe consequences. The CBSA has already implemented a number of measures to strengthen the transparency around procurement processes. They are working with the various commissioners to find additional ways to ensure that Canadians can have trust in our procurement process with CBSA, and we are supportive of the CBSA's work in this area.
The Honourable Member for Northumberland, Peterborough South.
Madam Speaker, according to media reports, this Liberal government has covered up the contamination of a Transport Canada dock operated in northern Albertan Indigenous communities. The big dock, as it's referred to, is known as a community hub. It's where couples go for a walk, where people fish, where kids go to play and swim. Did this government really cover up the contamination of this dock? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister of Transport.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, I want to say that safety is my top priority as Minister of Transport, and I hear and understand the concerns from the First Nations communities. It is absolutely crucial for remote and northern and Indigenous communities to have access to safe and reliable connectivity that they need. I will work with them to ensure that the operations at the facility are being carried out safely. The work is ahead of us, and we will make sure that we're on top of it. Thank you.
Good answer.
Honourable Member for Ottawa Vanier.
Madam Speaker, wildfires are becoming more and more unpredictable. As keepers of the land, Indigenous communities have long held deep local and knowledge to mitigate their impacts. Earlier this week, the Leader of the Opposition tokenized Indigenous cultural practices when it comes to protecting the environment. To the Minister of Indigenous Services, why is it important that First Nations take the lead when protecting communities, lands, and waters?
The Honourable Minister for Indigenous Services.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much to the member for Ottawa-Vanier for the question. And as she knows, there's a direct link between climate change and wildfires, extreme wildfires that we've been seeing across the country worsening for First Nation members. And so we've changed the way that the Government of Canada supports First Nations so that they have the supports financially and from a self-determination place to be able to protect their communities. And good news, last wildfire season, Madam Speaker, half as many people evacuated from First Nations communities. We're going to continue to work with the real experts in this country, Madam Speaker, First Nations and their partner.
The Honourable Member for Brentford Brent.
Madam Speaker, another day, another shooter on our streets. This time a 21-year-old dirtbag, or as described by a veteran detective, a muppet, with a record of 21 failures to comply with court orders, and not surprisingly, out on bail, sent a young cop to the emergency ward with a bullet in his gut. This NDP Liberal government's hug-a-thug mentality is putting cops and the public in emergency rooms and in morgues. When will this government prioritize safety rather than empathy for cop shooters?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That last statement is just outrageous. I live in the City of Toronto where this police officer worked. Myself, my family, and my neighbours rely on them every single day, and we're grateful for the work they do. This member is a former Crown prosecutor, as he likes to remind us time and time again. It's provincial responsibility to deal with the enforcement of bail laws. The Crown prosecutors are appointed by the Province of Ontario. The Justices of the Peace who administer the laws are appointed and paid for by the Province of Ontario. He's asking the wrong people the question.
The Honourable Member for Brentford Brent.
Almost everyone they arrest is out on bail. No one stays in jail where they belong. And they laugh. This is the president of the Toronto Police Association. Wake up. Every day, Canadians are waking up to more news of shootings and murders. The minister bragged that his bail reform bill would make our streets safer, but the truth is more criminals are out on bail and Canadians are more frightened than ever. This bill is a complete failure. How many more lost lives is it going to take for the government to finally embrace jail, not bail, for serious violence?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Once again, he's pointing in the wrong direction. There are justices of the peace every day in the province of Ontario who are releasing people on bail because of the inhumane conditions.
Can I interrupt the Honourable Member? I had a question. We allow the Parliamentary Secretary to answer. Order! From the top.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Every single day in the province of Ontario, there are justices of the peace who are appointed by the provincial government who are letting people out on bail because the conditions inside provincially built, provincially funded, and provincially operated prisons are inhumane and not okay for people, even prisoners, to be in. There is judicial decisions by justices of the peace who have considered this fact regularly, and they said until those conditions change, that's going to be a major consideration when they're listening to bail applications.
The Honourable Member for Kildonan St. Paul.
The fact is, Madam Speaker, after 9 years of these Liberals, of these NDP Liberals, violent crime in Canada is up 50%. That is their responsibility, Madam Speaker, and it's really no wonder. Police report there are 790 repeat violent offenders just walking the streets in Mississauga and Brampton. Police say almost everyone they arrest is out on bail, yet Liberals have made it very clear, especially yesterday in question period, that they support repeat violent offenders getting bail no matter what, no matter who gets hurt, Madam Speaker. What is it going to take for the Liberals to realize that their catch and release policies are costing innocent Canadians their lives?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
They just don't understand, Madam Speaker. They don't want to understand, Madam Speaker. The laws are in place. They can't be enforced properly because the province is underfunding the system. 1 hour ago, none other than Ben Mulroney was on his podcast, and he said one of the biggest problems is the lack of resources provided by the provincial government in the province of Ontario, and that's why people are getting out on bail. Full stop. They need to pay attention, look in the right direction. The laws here are in place. They stop sensationalizing and be serious.
The honourable member for Dartmouth Cole Harbour.
Madam Speaker, the Halifax Regional Municipality is home to a thriving maritime defence industry. Fleet Week, the Halifax International Security Forum, and of course our Atlantic Navy Fleet. In Dartmouth Cole Harbour alone, we're home to a thriving defence innovation ecosystem, including the Centre for Ocean Ventures and Entrepreneurship, and hundreds of startups and established companies working and innovating in this sector. Can the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of National Defence share with this House how our government's investments in defence and industry will benefit the Halifax Regional Municipality, Canada, and the world?
Secretary to the Minister of National Defence.
Thank you very much. As a proud founding member of NATO, we know Canada must do our fair share on the world stage. And this week, I was very pleased to open one of 3 international headquarters for the NATO Defense Innovation Accelerator for the North Atlantic, or DIANA, in Halifax, Madam Speaker. DIANA will facilitate cooperation between military operators and NATO's best and brightest startups, researchers, and tech companies. While the Conservatives are against funding for NATO DIANA, we, on this side of the House, are investing in Atlantic Canadian ingenuity and promoting NATO's defence excellence here at home.
The honourable member for Esquimalt-Saanich-Sooke.
Canada made a commitment to eliminate new cases of HIV by 2030, and there's still time to stop the spread of HIV, which is now hitting Indigenous women and other marginalized Canadians hardest. Community-based HIV organizations have laid out the necessary path in 2 proposals costing less than $175 million. Will this government provide the necessary funding to community-based HIV/AIDS organizations to ensure all Canadians are able to access HIV testing and then get connected to care? Or, despite its promises, is this government okay to continue to see the number of new HIV cases in Canada rise instead of fall?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and I want to thank the member opposite for his steadfast advocacy for patients suffering from HIV/AIDS. I believe that the member opposite would agree that we are all committed to making sure that we provide care for people who suffer from HIV/AIDS, and that's why our government has been investing over almost $90 million to help tackle sexually transmitted and blood-borne infections across Canada, which includes almost over $30 million under the HIV and Hepatitis C Community Action Fund and the Harm Reduction Fund. Of course, there's more work to be done, and we'll continue to work with all members of this House to ensure that all Canadians suffering from HIV...
The Honourable Member for Richmond-Arthabaska. Madam Speaker, Quebecers who use community clinics, hospital dental departments, or long-term care homes can't access the federal dental care program because of disputes between the Quebec and Canadian governments. Some of these patients are children, are vulnerable, or less affluent, or have a disability. Dentists are sorry that they can't register their patients. All of these people are trapped and penalized because our governments can't get their act together. Can the Prime Minister tell us what stage discussions are at so that this unacceptable situation can be resolved? The Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank the member for his question, and I share his indignation with respect to the Quebec government that wants to prevent dental treatment to the most vulnerable members of our society, people who are in long-term care homes, children in the hospital, Saint-Justine, who don't have access to this care, even though they pay their taxes. Normally, the Bloc would be against this, and I would ask them to add their voices to ours. It's a lack of judgment from the Quebec government.
Ainsi prend fin la période de questions orales. Volume des...
Your peace volume. I wish to inform the House
that the volume of earpieces will now be reset.
We'll have to readjust the volume. Okay, daily routine of business, tabling of documents. Tabling of documents. Tabling of documents? No. Introduction of government bills. Statements by ministers. Reports from interparliamentary delegations. Présentation de rapports de comité. Dépôt de projets de loi émanant de députés. Première lecture des projets de loi d'intérêt public émanant du Sénat. Motions. Présentation de pétitions. Presenting petitions. The Honourable Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to present a petition in which petitioners are calling on this Parliament to pass Bill S-281, known as Brian's Bill.